Alright, yo, what's going on, y'all, man? It's your boy Nuke. I'm back with another video. This is gonna be a quick video, man. I'm getting tired of this. Yo, this 100 men versus one gorilla, okay? Now, okay, see, this is my thoughts on it. Yes, 100 men can beat one gorilla, right? If these men strategize, and one of my friends was like, you're not gonna get 100 men to agree. And I was like, why not? They do it in religion. They do it at work. They agree. I'm pretty sure a lot of them got some, like some alternative ways to do things, but it's still going to get done at the end of the day, right? And I was like, if we're dropping, okay, put it this way, right? Because I got to explain, because, people just feel like, I'm going to be wrong or whatever, right? If that gorilla is in its habitat, it's going to be harder for us to win. It's going to be harder for 100 men to win, because why? That gorilla knows its habitat. If that gorilla gets put in another habitat, right? Let's say that gorilla just drops on the map, right? Like Warzone, right? And 100 men just drop on the map like Warzone, right? First of all, that gorilla is going to be scared. A gorilla is not just going to be pissed off, right? It'll take a while for a gorilla just to get pissed off, right? But you gotta think about it. Different habitats is gonna get to different things, because, like I said, put that gorilla in another habitat, it's not gonna know what to do. It's probably gonna be scared. It's probably gonna look for something. But if that gorilla is in his habitat and 100 men just drop in his habitat, that gorilla know what he's doing. That one gorilla gonna know what to do. And heck, even then, like, if it's dropped in its habitat, I still think there's a chance that 100 men can win. I mean, don't get me wrong, there'll probably be a lot of deaths, but you gotta think about it. 100 men, even then, 100 men not finna just rush one gorilla. That's just not finna happen. That gorilla not finna just. The gorilla gonna have to fight off one person, and you gotta think about it. If we spaced out, it'll be very, very hard for that gorilla to just, because that gorilla gotta focus on one task. Now, people be like, man, what about King Kong, right? But you gotta think about it. King Kong saw his opponents in his face. His opponents wasn't moving and running and, like, you know what I mean? And you gotta think about it. Even if his opponents, like, I guess they were like dinosaurs or whatever, right? Or whatever they were. Even if they were flying, he heard them. He killed off one of them, then he heard him, right? So yes, I do think that 100 men can beat one gorilla, man. It just depends on the instinct and the habitat, and we talking about with bare hands. If these humans are trained, right? If 100 men are trained, yes. You know what I mean? But like I said, it all depends on the habitat. It all depends on just where and when and what. You know what I mean? That's what it boils down to, right? I think there was this AI thing where, like, it was like 100,000 men, fighting 10,000 gorillas. And I still don't remember what happened. And I'm thinking that that 10,000 gorillas won, right? But I don't know. But then again, I think that they had weapons too, I think. But like I said, I'm just looking at it. I'm just the one that's gonna be strategic. And my thing, I'm not finna just walk up to no gorilla and just punch him. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Hey, there's a lot of dumb people in the world, but I don't think there's somebody dumb enough to just walk up to a gorilla and just punch it. Like, that's just not gonna happen, man. That's just not gonna happen. That's just my thoughts on it, man. Let's keep spreading positivity. Let's keep, doing better with ourselves. But I feel like the 100 men and gorilla thing was, like, out of proportion, and it caught a lot of people off guard. I just talked to one of my homeboys, and he was like, he disagreed at first, but I was like, if we're talking about in different habitats, yes. Are we talking about these men are trained? Yes. Yes, and I understand that a gorilla is strong. A gorilla is probably like 800 pounds or more, and their bite force is really, really strong, right? And I made this point. I was like, bro, men been killing animals that are bigger than gorillas. And he was like, with weapons. I said, but some of them went out there with no weapons, right? And you gotta think about it. If I'm surrounding something that's bigger than me, that gorilla don't got eyes in the back of his head, or that. I think they've killed woolly mammoths. I think they killed tigers. Like, all these things don't have eyes in the back of their head. So, you know what I mean? And there's a lot more animals that are stronger than gorillas, right? You know, hippopotamuses are stronger than gorillas. Like, I mean, just whatever. But like I said, if 100 men just coming up with a strategy, or if one man, because you gotta think about it, one man, or it's gonna be like 10 men that's gonna be smarter than 90% of the men that's just gonna go in there, right? You know, of course, yeah, it'll be easier with weapons, but still, you know, depending on how fast this gorilla is, how agile this gorilla is, you can miss with a weapon. You can miss with anything, you know? But like I said, man, that's just the end of it. That's just how I think about things. I gotta strategize. I'm not finna just go in there I'm not finna dive in head first without no safety vest, man. You know? That's just me. But anyways, man, that's the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It's your boy Nuke, man, and I'm out.